do you want, miss? It's a bit early, which is why I look a bit fast asleep. But anyway, I've come out here because I wanted to look for a particular type of spider which I quite often get in this corner of this field. So you can see the field behind me has been harvested. It was they cut it a few weeks ago and took the bells away. And this corner here is sort of doesn't fit in. It's a bit scrubby, and so it doesn't really get harvested. And we get a special type of spider. A few years ago, I noticed we had these spiders around this time of year. So I'm just gonna. I did spot one a second ago. Oh, there we are. So I'm just going to go in and take some photos. Sorry, the flies everywhere. I need a spider now. I'm just going to go and take a bit of footage of the spider that's in here and show you a little bit more of the habitat where they are. So this is the corner of the field. Don't look at my carports, they're really messy. So there's my house. And this scrubby long grass. You can see there's some what have we got in here? I don't know what sort of grass this is actually, but there's a bit of Queen Anne's lace, beautiful seed heads here, and some vetch down there, a little bit of corn left over, escaped the combine, a bit of willow herb there, and some docks. So this is a really lovely kind of scrubby, grassy habitat, and we get a variety of spider, which they are a kind of natural invader in so much as they've started coming. They came to the UK, but not, they weren't, imported or whatever. There we go. Grass out of the way without disturbing her. Absolute beauty. Hopefully you can see that kind of white like mesh of strands above the spider's abdomen, and you can see there she's caught some prey. Now the reason they have that bit in the middle, that sort of white extra springy strands, is because they eat grasshoppers, so they need kind of something which has got a lot of kind of tensile strength to it in their web. These field margins are so important. You can see there's lots of little musets, these little tunnels that animals make, and all this kind of scrubby grass and nettles and willow herb are absolutely fabulous for rodents, finches, snakes, reptiles, or snakes and other reptiles rather. And here's a little, you can see there's a little track here, maybe you can't see it terribly well, but this is a little conduit that is used, I know it's used by badgers because there's a big badger latrine just below my feet here, which is how badgers kind of mark their territory, deposit large quantities of poo periodically. So as I think I might have mentioned before, my mum watches this over breakfast, so I won't show you a picture of the badger latrine, but there's another little spider's web down there. This is absolutely fantastic habitat for all sorts of things, but the sad fact is that in a few days, possibly might be weeks, the flail hedge cutter will come along and cut all this back to the ground, which is really silly because it doesn't grow any crop in this section. As you can see, it's all just weeds, and the field margin, you can see quite clearly where the crop actually starts. and yet they'll cut all this back just simply because, you know, well, that's what you do at this time of year. There's no reason why this hedge shouldn't grow up higher. I understand if it's encroaching on a road, you need to cut it back, but really, you know, it's just ridiculous that we keep, you know, we have this obsession with sort of tidying and neat edges and, you know, everything looking clean and crisp. It's so terrible for nature. So yes, the sad fact is, unless the wasp spider, which is buried somewhere in there, can get her act together and get her egg sacs out and somewhere safe and everything sorted in a very short amount of time, which, let's be honest, isn't going to happen, she's going to get mulched, which is really sad. And it's something, you know, disturbance is something that nature constantly battles with us and our obsession. So that's something we really need to think about. I'm going to make some breakfast cookies. Now this is a recipe from Abel & Cole, which is where I get my veg box. And I've made this a few times, and I'm basically making these for my daughter because she starts back at college, and you know, she likes something which isn't kind of breakfasty but isn't sort of too heavy. And you know, you can buy bars, but I just get cross about the amount of packaging in the bars, and they are quite expensive. And so these are really cool, and she's a bit concerned about touching anything being a bit coronary. So she can just take a couple of these cookies. So my dog's down here tapping away on the tiles. So she can take a couple of these cookies in a beeswax wrap, and they'll be completely safe and stay fresh. And the other thing I love about this recipe is it's one of those things where it's got sort of amounts, but you can kind of mix and match a bit and up this a bit and down that a bit depending on what you've got. So for example, it has 100 grams of nuts or seeds and 100 grams of dried fruit. So I've got not quite enough of the dried nuts, but I've got a little bit more of the dried fruit. So you can kind of play around with the recipe a bit, but it's just got a basic sort of flour, oats, sugar, a little bit of syrup, coconut oil. It's got no eggs in it, and as I said, it uses oil rather than butter, so it's kind of vegan and dairy free. My daughter's dairy free. So yeah, I'm just going to get on and weigh out the dry ingredients. And again, it's one of those things you just chuck it all in the KitchenAid, mix them around, shape them into little balls, cook them for about 12 minutes if you like them a bit squishy, 15 if you like them a bit crispier and more of a sort of biscuit. So yeah, they're just super easy. And again, you can freeze the mixture uncooked if you're not going to use it all at once. I think this makes about 15, 18 cookies, and they keep for like apparently a week. I was that long in this house. And they've got a little bit of they've got a little bit of vegetables in them. So my daughter Amber will be thrilled to know that there are going to be courgette and beetroot in these biscuits, because Amber, I know how much you love vegetables in all things savoury and sweet. So yeah, so I'm going to get on and make them. Quite enough of the chopped nuts, so I'm going to put in a bit of peanut butter, which will also sort of help to glue it together a little bit. I'm also not a great raisin person, which my son's girlfriend will appreciate. She's not a raisin person either, so I'm using some dried cranberries, which are quite nice because they're sort of slightly tangy and a little bit less kind of super sweet than kind of raisins or currants or sultanas. So I'm going to pop these in. This is 125 grams. I should only have 100 grams, But like I said, I haven't got quite so many nuts, so I'm just going to chuck all these in and just kind of make it up to the approximate proportions with the other ingredients. I'm going to grate the beetroot and also the courgette, which I've temporarily lost. I'll find that and grate that and put that in as well. Don't want to add too much courgette because it can make things a bit sort of wet and soggy, but there's quite a lot of other kind of dry and you know, quite sort of thickening ingredients in here, like the peanut butter, so I'm not too worried just having a little bit of courgette in here. Here we've got the mixture ready to be blended together with the KitchenAid, and then I'll be able to shape it into the little balls and bake them. Here are the cookies ready to go into the oven. So you can see they've got the sort of nice flecks of green courgette, as well as a few little pink flecks of beetroot, as well as the kind of bright red of the cranberries. So as you can see, I've made 12 quite big cookies. And they're quite half an inch, centimetre or so thick. But these are going to be kind of breakfast and 11s for Rose. So obviously you can make slightly smaller ones. So I'm going to bake these at 180 for about 12 minutes because they're a little bit bigger than the ones in the recipe. And then turn them over and give the other sides a little crisp up, and then we'll see how they look. I've got a new fire guard, which I think you can see behind here. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to have my little fireplace displays up again if I can save them from the cat and the rabbit. And I'm going to be getting a puppy in a couple of weeks as well, so I'm not sure how well he's going to respond to the whole idea of having things in a fireplace. And although this does fit, it's kind of got to be quite stretched out, so I might need to come up with some way of fixing it, because I can see him just crashing into it and the whole thing falling over. But anyway, so I'm just giving this area a bit of a tidy. I'm using a dustpan and brush. I don't like using a hoover in case I hoover up any spiders. So I just have to sort of marshal them up out of the way, get rid of the old cobwebs, and then let them come back down again when they're ready. I've got various things to put back, so I'm just going to get on and kind of tidy this up, and then I can go and get some dried grasses and things that I collected earlier in the summer, and make a little display to go in this vase here. So here we are. Yeah, it's a shame this has got to be up, but I've put some bottles. Oh, it's a bit dark in here, sorry. They put some bottles to kind of space off that so it can be at a bit more of an angle, which hopefully will mean it's a bit more secure. So I'll have to wait and see if that's rabbit proof, cat proof, etc. So I've got this vase in the middle, which I'm going to take out, and I've got the little, I put some more tea lights in the little aluminium moulds I've got there, and Probably won't ever light those candles. I have lit them before, but that was outside. But anyway, so I've got my bottles back and my cowbells and a bit of Victorian picture frame there. And so yes, I'll get on and do something beautiful for the middle. So this is where I've been drying the various grasses that I, oh sorry, I just tripped over. Dried the various grasses that I collected earlier on in the summer. And I've also got some artichoke heads here, which I'm just kind of drying out a little bit more. Lovely. So I'm going to take these down. I'll give them a little wiggle, just to see if they shed at all. These are wild oats. I think you remember those from another vlog. And various, this is cocksfoot. That's some sort of brome, I think. Oh no, this is the brome. And that's meadow grass. So I will cut these down and have a play around with some of them. I bought my various wares in from the carport. I've got my cat here helping me. Thank you, Sausage. That's just marvellous. I also, I was given a hop by somebody who'd been on one of my bee courses actually. So this is a traditional Sussex hop. And it's all very entangled with bindweed at the moment, and it's growing up this piece of willow stem that I used as a support. But I'm going to disentangle that and then put that across the underneath the mantel shelf, which is just the cheapest, crappiest bit of like fake wood. But anyway, it might look better with some hops around it, so I'm going to do that in a minute. Whatever I can rescue from the cat. Oh, sorry, I've got doing honey as well here, so it's all a bit chaotic. So I'm just going to go through these, and I'm not sure, you know, sometimes you can obviously hang them upside down, and I don't know how well they're going to support themselves when they're dry, but these look okay. So I will get on and arrange them into my vase. The stems sit too far down, so I've tied them using a piece of string just kind of below the neck here, so that means that I can then have a bit more control over where I'm poking them and what I'm doing regarding where they're going to sort of how they're going to kind of hang, if you like. So that's a tip, that if you want to sort of give a bit more support to the arrangement, you can sort of use some string and just kind of use that to give a bit of stability and structure. So you can see, I mean, I was going to put some wild oats in, but I might put some of those, I might try just one, putting that in right at the back. Sorry, the cats find this absolutely fascinating. He's eating them. Yeah, I might just put a few in. So she get off. I might just put a couple in, sort of at the back. I've got to make sure actually. I'm just going to go and try and make sure it does actually fit in the fireplace. Get off! Yes, it does fit. I just need to trim this one by about 1 inch. And that's my kind of height marker. Try and do that without disturbing the others. Right, let's get this one. So if you've got things in your garden that you think, oh, that's an interesting structure, or it's got quite a sort of robust stem or something like that, honestly, do try sort of drying things. I mean, if they're just from your garden and you're giving them, you know, it's not sort of, you're not going out buying things, it's worth trying different things to see how well they dry. Like I said, some things they just shed all their sort of seed heads and things, so they don't work. But yeah, do try different things that you've got in your garden. I think sedum, and I've got loads and loads of lemon balm, and that's obviously got quite a strong stem and quite structural leaves, but it might just go to a crisp and not look very nice. So do try different things. I think Verbena bonariensis is probably another good one to try. So yeah, just have a bit of an experiment, and if they don't really work, well, you haven't lost anything, have you? So I'm going to carry on and just finish putting a few of these wild oats in, and then I'll pop it in the fireplace and see how it looks. So I did add some wild oats at the back, and I think they look good. So here's the overall kind of picture. I will take a slightly better picture. And up here, I've put the hops. I've taken down the lapwing, my lapwing painting triptych that I had up there previously, and I've moved the copper pads along a bit. And my little row antlers are there. So I was thinking, oh, it looks a bit uneven because obviously this end is sort of thicker than this end, but actually I quite like that asymmetric effect. Concludes the vlog. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next week. There'll be some baking next week because my son is back, so I'll be back up to full baking capacity, so I look forward to seeing you next week. So I did add some, get off the wallpaper.